In January, President Trump issued an executive order, a travel ban affecting 7 majority Muslim countries.
Anti-Muslim protests are scheduled to happen around the country tomorrow.
Members of that congregation stood on the sidewalk and they watched their house of worship burn all the way to the ground. It was a total loss.
But one state representative is making some Muslims feel unwelcome. Fredericksburg Republican Kyle Biederman sent a letter to mosque leaders and Muslim student associations around the state. It included a poll asking whether the Texas Muslims support Sharia law and efforts to designate the Muslim Brotherhood as a foreign terrorist group. Some members of the Muslim community call the poll an attack on their religion.
Criticism this morning against Texas Attorney General Kim Paxton. On Friday, Paxton took issue with Frisco ISD for setting aside a vacant room as a prayer room for Muslim students. Paxton says that the move excludes students of other faiths from taking part. The statement the district disputed.
A copy of the Quran immersed in pork fat and mailed to a Muslim group in California. It is a cruel sacrilege, and tonight an investigation is underway. Police say the package was mailed from the Houston area to members of the Council on American Islamic Relations in Sacramento.
A report by CAIR shows hate crimes in the first half of 2017 against Muslims spiked by 91% compared to the same time in 2016. The number of bias incidents in the first half of this year also increased by 24% compared to 2016. This report shows there's a huge spike in the number of Muslim Americans who are targeted for hate, and Houston is no exception. In Houston and around Texas, we've had Muslim businesses targeted and mosques set on fire. It's part of a national trend growing around the country.
A Lyft driver is beaten and berated by a passenger, and authorities say it's because of his ethnicity.
Vandals targeting a Highlands homeowner. His SUV burned and tagged with racial slurs along with his house. And new tonight, one group is speaking out. Police say the vandals wrote, "Get out, leave," and the N-word on his home.
This was an attack to our imam, and we feel very, horrified, and we are very sad.
The man who verbally and physically assaulted 19-year-old Dawar Amr in a bias-motivated attack.
Since CAIR's mission is to enhance understanding of Islam, encourage dialogue, protect civil liberties, empower American Muslims, and build coalitions that promote justice and mutual understanding, we at CAIR Houston increased our efforts in 2017 to face the exaggerated increase of these incidents.
Intentionally defacing, damaging, or destroying a religious house of worship, such as a mosque here, is a federal crime. A crime that is intolerable in a free and open society.
Now, the Council on American Islamic Relations, Texas, released this statement today, saying in part, quote, "We welcome the hate crime charge brought against the alleged arsonist and hope it sends a strong message to anyone contemplating attacking a house of worship."
CAIR Houston establishes and maintains working relationships with local, state, and federal governmental institutions and representatives. CAIR Houston empowers the community by working closely with its various departments and entities to provide appropriate workshops and training.
Man, there's just too much love in this room. All right. Give yourselves a hand. Too much love. And more to come. Now, this is really what America looks like.
Thousands of Texans rallied outside the Capitol steps in solidarity of the state's Muslim community for Texas Muslim Day at the Capitol, a biennial event that is held during each legislative session. The day serves as an advocacy day for members of Muslim communities around the state to visit with state leaders and tour the Capitol. However, this year's event took on a new meaning. A sea of people, thousands of them, filled the steps of the Texas Capitol and the lawn. As this year's Texas Muslim Capital Day kicked off with a rally and press conference, non-Muslims were there in force, verbally supporting and even physically protecting Muslims. In the wake of Trump's so-called travel ban, supporters with welcoming signs overwhelmed the event. Supporters linked arms and surrounded the area around the podium, which was the site of an ugly confrontation at the last Capitol Day in 2015.
Oh, Lucy, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed?
Hundreds of participants met with their lawmakers, many for the first time, after receiving training in the legislative process. It was an unqualified success, and we look forward to continuing our effort with elected officials and with non-Muslim community supporters.
We have come here to stand against hate. We have come to acknowledge that all who are standing here, whatever their faith, they are wrapped in the wonderment of the Constitution of the United States, and they love this country.
Congressman Sheila Jackson Lee joined Muslim leaders of Southeast Texas at the Leland Federal Building to take a stand against the Sharia law marches. CAIR Houston also participated in the second well-attended One Ummah conference held at the Islamic Education Center, wherein predominantly members of the Shia and Sunni community came together and expressed the need for unity and solidarity.
Today is the day of Hajj, and that's the grand pilgrimage that's taking place in Mecca. And it is one of the pillars of Islam. It is indeed an obligation upon us to take care of our neighbors, our communities, and ensure that everybody is safe.
People that have come through for relief, that's how many we've had come in giving donations, which has been amazing. And Hawa Masjid is just one of the masjids in Houston that's opened its doors as shelter and a relief center. There have been at least 21 masjids that have opened their doors up and asked for people to come in, get help, and give help to one another, because Hurricane Harvey devastated everyone.
CAIR Houston, in cooperation with other Muslim local and national organizations, participated in the Hurricane Harvey rescue and recovery efforts. This year was a lot tougher than the years before, but we at CAIR Houston took the challenge to another level. Please support CAIR Houston to keep us on the same level of protection of the Muslim community's civil rights and integrity.